Good morning, everyone. Well, it's kind of a good morning. It's a bit rainy outside. If you're on the northern Gold Coast, I imagine it's the same everywhere else at the moment. To Brisbane, hopefully, I think they said around lunchtime we should be hearing whether your lockdown has lifted for the Gold Coast. It's great to see businesses open. I went out this morning. People are really starting to get out and about into the shops, into cafes, into restaurants. So it's really good to see that support lift straight away. So I wanted to jump on this morning and just go through the market. I mean, I think everyone's heard the news has been going on about it for a little while. The market has been crazy. You talk to a lot of agents that have been in the industry for a long time, a lot of valuers as well, and they say they haven't seen the market like this in a very, very long time. And the good thing is, although it does seem like there's a slight change in buyer sentiment right now, it doesn't appear as though prices are going to be going anywhere anytime soon. That I think they've gone up and I don't think they're going back down. Based on what I'm seeing anyway, I mean, I just had a property sell. I was gone under contract, number 10 Girraween Street. I had that on the market 1 week, had over 70 inquiries, 30 inspections and 8 offers. So that bracket, especially in that sort of $500,000 to $700,000 bracket right now, the market is intense. I hear as well, I deal a lot in properties well over $1 million, and in that market as well, we're seeing a lot of cash coming through the market and making a big difference. And I'll talk about that because one of the areas I'm going to really break down today is in that bracket. And the difference over the last 6 months and 12 months has been astronomical. So, hopefully people jump on soon. If there's any questions at all throughout this live video, please pop them below. Hopefully they'll show up and I'll be able to answer them as we go. This will also be downloaded and posted through Instagram and YouTube as well. Hopefully I can get that to work in a way that streams nice and easy, and this will be posted to Facebook afterwards. But I wanted to start by talking about Jacobs Well. So Jacobs Well has sort of sat stagnant for a fair few years. It's a very unknown, I guess, area. Predominantly being elder couples moving out there for the lifestyle, being close to the water so they can jump out for a fish. And then with the development of Calypso Bay, we've got a lot of prestigious professionals, retirees heading out that way as well, which I'll talk about. But over the last 6 to 12 months, there's been a huge lift in people understanding where it is and the convenience of it. It's only 15 minutes to the M1, which allows you access to Brisbane and the Gold Coast right in the middle, and it's far enough away that it's super quiet. Jacobs Well has always been a quiet suburb, really good for those people that want to get away from the hustle and bustle, live outside of the city, and still have access to all the amenities that you could possibly need. You know, you got Coles literally 10 minutes around the corner, and this Coomera connector is going to be a huge lift for that particular suburb. Over the last 12 months, for example, from the financial year before to the current financial year, so the last 12 months versus the 12 months before, the prices in Jacobs Well are up over 15%, 15.25%, now with the median sitting at $642,500. That's a big lift, really good to see. For anyone that owns property out there, that's awesome. And I think it's going to keep going. When Coomera Connector, I said it before, hits out there, it's going to be super convenient to get to Jacobs Well, which has been really good. G'day, Steve. Hope you're doing well. I haven't spoken in a little while. Thanks for jumping on. The good thing is calendar year, right? So last year's calendar year, the median in Jacobs Well was $596.5. Over the last 6 months, we're sitting at a median of $690,000. So we're on track for another 15% lift, which is awesome for that area. And that's been driven by Calypso Bay, which is my favorite spot on the Gold Coast, still a hidden gem. And I implore anyone looking for a prestigious property to consider that on their shopping list. It's an amazing what you can do. It's one of the only places you can get deep water access from your backyard. You can store massive boats at the back of your property, and it's straight out to the ocean. Whereas you look at places like Hope Island, Sanctuary Cove, Runaway Bay, and there's size limits for a start, but there's also a 10, 15, 20-minute track at 4 knots, 5 knots, or whatever it is, before you can get to the ocean and really start to enjoy yourself. It's kind of a pain. So definitely have a look. Calypso Bay and Jacobs Well has gone off. And to the extent where last year you could buy a block of land, 800 square meters on the water for $540,000 with a marina, which is crazy to think when you compare. It's well over $1 million in Hope Island for a much, much smaller block. Now there's blocks selling for between $850,000 and $900,000 for 600 square meters. That's almost a $500,000 lift in land prices in Calypso Bay in the last 6 months. And it's not going to stop. The next release, once this release sells, will be over $1 million to buy a block of land in Calypso Bay, which is crazy because the median house price, not the last 12 months, the 12 months before, was just over $1 million, $1,035,000. Over the last 12 months, it's now 1.125 and 1.325 over the last 6 months. That's massive growth. And again, when I talk about the Coomera Connector, that's a huge lift for property prices, in my opinion. Calypso Bay is going to see a ridiculous lift. I haven't got a crystal ball in front of me, but one day the median price in Calypso Bay, I believe, will be $2 million plus. Great time to be getting into that market. Great time to be a seller who's been sitting in there for the last 6 to 7 years with very little growth to have this boom happen. And if you haven't looked in Calypso Bay, jump online. The properties out there are amazing. What you can buy value for money, Calypso Bay versus Hope Island versus Sydney, is ridiculously good value for money. There's only been one property sold over $2 million in there, and it was a 3-level with basement parking. Extremely modern property. Check it out. 100% recommend it. You will see some properties coming from me very soon in that area, so keep an eye out. So let's talk about my other favourite suburb. It's my favourite because I live there, and I have seen this area sit still for, would have been 5 years now. We haven't had property values move, and finally we're reaping the rewards. Developments are pretty much no longer. Everything's been bought up. The latest release in Gainsborough Greens sold in 1:40 flat. 1:40 seconds, every block was sold and oversold, so there was too many people. G'day Robert, hope you're doing well. Thanks for jumping on. So if there's no land available, which has always been the issue in Pimpama, prices will finally start to rise. And for example, in Pimpama on its own, right, it's only showing in the last financial year, so the median is currently sitting at 485,000. That's showing a 3% growth, okay? So it doesn't sound amazing, but we've had a big shift where it used to be predominantly rental area. It's now moving to a predominantly owner-occupied area very, very quickly. And the best way to describe that is calendar year growth. So last calendar year, the median was 445,000 versus the last 6 months is 515,000, over or nearly 16% growth over the last 6 months. Now at the end of this year, I'll give you another update. We should see where this ends up, but I don't see it slowing down. The amount of interest we're having is insane. And when I release the sales result of 10 Girraween Street in Pimpama, you're going to see just how amazing this area is for a start and how much people want to live here. But you're going to see what I'm talking about when I talk about growth, and still an opportunity to buy at good value for money in comparison to other places in the area. And we've still got more growth. We've got $100 million coming starting mid next year to spend on our intersection upgrade. Bunnings is just open and more to open around that very soon. The Coomera Connector is going to be a really good thing for our area, and there's so much more coming. Keep an eye out on Pimpama. Now, in Pimpama, we can break that down into many different pockets of Pimpama, but the most prestigious, the most popular for an owner-occupier, for example, is Gainsborough Greens. It is the prestige. We've just had 2 houses in the last 3 months sell at over $1 million, non-golf course frontage properties. Amazing, okay, amazing. And we're going to see this come as the times go by. $1 million to buy a house in Gainsborough Greens will soon become the norm. But this is a true growth story, okay? So over the last 12 months, so financial year to financial year, Gainsborough Greens has grown 12.27%. The median currently sitting at $595,000. But that's taking into consideration the last half of last year was just a regular market, probably slowed down a fair bit, and it really didn't kick in. The COVID money didn't kick in until the start of this year, I guess you could say. So when we look at calendar year, all right, last calendar year, so the full January to December last year, the median was 533,000. From January 1 to June 30, based on the current figures released, the median is $635,000. 19% growth so far this year. Again, at the end of the year, there'll be a bigger update. Look, that is an amazing result, and it's all driven by the fact you cannot buy land. When I look at the result of 90 Melville Drive for a block of land, 420 square meters I sold a few months ago. That went crazy, sold within 2 days for $400,000. You can really see the price growth. I've got another block of land outside of Gainsborough Greens right now, but to talk about land prices, under contract for close to $500,000 in Pimpama. So keep an eye out on that result. That should be released very soon, hopefully next week, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Right now, there's still many opportunities in these two areas, Pimpama, Jake as well, and surrounding. I think Willowvale, Ormo Hills are still growth areas. They've been sitting stagnant for quite some time. So if you're in the market, check it out. And if you're a seller, now is the time to capitalize. We're seeing investors in this area who've been sitting on properties the last 5 years. They've now reached the tax depreciation schedule sort of lowering. There's not as much depreciation available for them. So they're looking to liquidate and purchase new properties, which they've subscribed to all the land releases. And we're seeing investors finally get capital growth. So they've sat and they haven't made much. It's just been their principal payments that have come off. But when you're looking at 19% growth in the last 6 months in Gainsborough Greens, they're finally starting to sell. But no one else is selling. Owner-occupiers are holding on right now. So to get an opportunity in here, you got to act fast. If you're looking at selling, as I said, no better time. Please give me a call, and I have a full report on these two suburbs. If you're interested, comment below or send me a message. I'd love to chat with you. My number, 0407 760 435. Brisbane, hopefully you enjoy your last day of lockdown, and fingers crossed for you. Lunchtime comes and tomorrow we go back to normal. Gold Coast, get out there. I know it's raining. Support some local businesses. Get to your cafes. Go out for lunch. Whatever you can do, get out, enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your school holidays. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. I'll speak to you soon.